Hello everyone, this is Louis, and in this video we're gonna be doing some 2D art for Medieval 2 Total War. Uh, I'm using my Bard model as an example. Mostly want to show how to make a render with lights and stuff, and to make a portrait. As you can see, I made a old version of Bart's face. I use Make Human to age the mesh that I had created for him, and then I made a new. I didn't make a new texture, but I adjusted the texture that I had made for the young version, and I added a beard as well. So we can compare here the young version. So this for the portrait. So seems a bit like overkill, but I wanted to make a model old version as well, so I can use it to make the portrait. So I've saved it and I'm gonna pose it. So for posing, you can press anim here, and if you go to the joints tab and show skeleton, you can here as well select, go back to the model tab, go to select joint, and you can select the joints and go to rotate, and you can rotate them. But what I usually do is use goat, so this toolbox, and I use anim merge. So yeah, first you select the Milkshape file. Make sure your Milkshape file has all the bone weights and the comments. I'm not sure if the comments are necessary, but it's good to do it anyways. So I'm gonna go to my 2D art here folder, and I'm gonna open it. And then this leads me directly to an animations folder that I set up in the goat files. You can set up the paths quite easily. And these animations are the Caliban animations. Otherwise, if you just use unpacked animations from Medieval 2, they're not gonna work for any merge. You need the editable CAS files, which are the Caliban files. If you just search for Caliban Medieval 2 animations, you should be able to find it easily and download it. So usually I use the new, but it depends. So yeah, new swordsman should be okay. And there's a bunch of animations that you can select. So each of these animations are like a few seconds long, just have a few frames, not a few frames, but several frames, and they do like an action. So you can have like stand A to ready, stand A to run. Usually go stand A to maybe stand C or stand D. I think A and D are usually quite static, and B and C, they have usually some kind of more like a more unique motion. I'll go just stand A to stand B and open, and it's gonna as for the amount of frames, I just put 20. And if you go to the Python here, it should go normally. It's gonna, so these are the, if you go back, so these are the comments, and yeah, it has done the comment section. The file has to be has to have a LOD name. So these are the bones. So yeah, it's gonna write everything, and there shouldn't be an error or anything like weird. And it's gonna save to this file here, anim by etc. So I can just gonna save it and close this one and open the animated one, and you can see there's like not much going on, but if you press anim, it's gonna load the animation. And there's this like weird animation where with the hips. But yeah, you can have just like a standing animation, or if like you can choose like any point of the animation. But yeah, you can do some additional posing if you want. You can select the head here and like rotate up or down or to the side. I might do like slightly to the side here, go up a little. I might like hide some of this group, so the sword and the bow. If you're doing like so you can use this for unit cards as well. So usually you might want to kind of raise the arms so you can see the weapons. So you can put the weapon here, like a bow here. You have a lot of freedom of what kind of pose you want to do. You can spend some time doing this. So for unit cards, I'm gonna try to show quickly how to do a unit card, because it's really not that that hard. If you're doing just one, of course, if you're doing for like a whole faction, it can take some time, and but just for one unit is usually not that complicated. So yeah, so hide the skeleton, and you have your viewer here. Try to keep in mind that there's like a unit number somewhere here, so you might want to maybe hide the quiver or do something like this, so you have space for the unit number. But yeah, I'm not gonna spend too much time. So one thing I like to do, I don't do the whole body, but just the upper body. And I go to preferences, and I choose a green color. I think any green color should be fine here. So it's basically you're doing kind of a green screen. So I use a print screen to print that. So you have your green one. So I just press print screen and then Control V to paste it. And then I choose some kind of neutral color or like a darker color. Since this is like mostly bluish, you can use like a bluish color, like a dark blue. Can remove some of the saturation, can be like a slightly purplish perhaps. And you can adjust it. A few times, because from here it's kind of sometimes hard to see how it's gonna look. So you just click, try not to move the camera at this stage. So you just click and it should be fine. So this color is kind of good. So I'm gonna do another print screen. Sometimes it doesn't work, the print screen, so you just have to be careful. Just have to kind of try again. So yeah, you have your two layers here. Let me push this to the side. Here, yeah. And they should be overlapping. So first I'm gonna select my green layer here with the green background. It can even be a tolerance of 1. Anti-alias is fine. So unselect the contiguous, so it's gonna select even the small gaps here. And then go to your layer of the neutral background and press delete. And it's gonna delete the background. I just like to do this because sometimes if you do it with the green, it might keep some green pixels around the model. So this way you don't have any kind of weird colors on the edges. It's kind of a detail. At this point you can do a few things. If you want, you can maybe sharpen some areas or make them brighter, maybe the sword, because there's no like reflection map, so you might want to kind of use the dodge to make this brighter. And there's some other stuff you can do. I usually don't do a lot of things to the unicard because it's quite small, so it might not be that visible. So let me go to mods here and UI units. Yeah, Scotland is Dale. So I just open any of them and just try to just for the size. So then I make a selection here around my image and I paste it. And you're gonna have to use a free transform. And you can use an existing unicard to kind of see roughly the size you want to do. And I'm gonna fill it with black. I can't make a new. Here again, you probably can put like another color if you want, as long as it's not like a really bright color. It can be something more of a neutral shade. But yeah, you can see it's quite blurry and might be a bit dark. You can go to the levels and maybe do some of the. If you go to options, you have some presets, or you can just raise the brightness if you want, if you think it looks too dark. And maybe you can add do some extra dodging here. So yeah, so it's quite blurry. So what you can do is you go to filter, sharpen, unsharp mask, and maybe do like 100. You can change the amount if you want. Radius can be like 0.4, 0.5. So yeah, this would roughly be your unit card. So yeah, you have your alpha. I'm gonna delete it. So if you press Ctrl and you press the layer, it's gonna make a selection around your layer, and then you just click on create new channel, or yeah, create new channel, and select the alpha, and you can fill it with a white color. And there you go. It's a good idea to do it after you sharpen it, so the alpha is also sharp, so it's not blurry. So yeah, that's basically it, and you just save as Targa TGA, and just save it as Bard here. Doesn't, it has to be the name of the name of the unit in the edu. But I just, this is just for an example. And yeah, 32 bits per pixel. Compress, it's a small file, so you don't really need to compress, but if you want to kind of save some space, you can compress it. But yeah, that's it for unit cards. Not that complicated, really. So I'm gonna go back here to my file. And just pick like a dark green color for the that I prefer it for the background. So yeah. So I'm just gonna leave the weapons down. It'll be kind of tricky if you want to find like a natural pose or like a cool pose. You can spend a long time fiddling here with the different joints. So yeah, once you kind of, I'm just doing this just for the, if you want to do a full size render for your unit. So here, I don't know if it saves the changes you make, but if you export, if you do any kind of change in the animation, you might, I think, lose your changes to the pose. So you can export your OBJ. Just do barred pose. So yeah, again, I don't know if it's gonna save. I'll just leave it open for now. And I'm gonna open Houdini. And I'm gonna change to the creation layout. So yeah, save first, always good. Just save as render. Or yeah, just render. Press tab and create a file node. So press tab in the network here. Double click to open it. Press P and you can open the geometry file here. So yeah, $heap is the location of your folder. It didn't save the pose, so I don't know what happened. Yeah, sometimes the I'll have to redo it. Let's do stand C perhaps. So let's reload the geometry here. The problem with the hands. I never got this problem, so okay. Now it loaded correctly. Maybe just because I pressed the reload geometry. So yeah, I'm gonna set up some lights. So you have lights and camera. I usually like to use geometry lights. So you just press here and just try to place one roughly in front of him. So area size, I'm gonna put 10, 10. Don't know if it matters that much, so maybe just 5, 5. So you have your intensity and your exposure, and you can raise it. And you also have a color here, so you can pick a color. You can transform here and like rotate and stuff, I believe. Yeah. So I just create a bit of an angle. And I'm gonna create another area light. Roughly on top. So it doesn't have to be a very strong light. And I'm gonna also use an environment light. So this would be like a basic 3-point light setup. And this would be like my ambient or like my backlight. So for the environment light, you can use environment map. So you can open here. And I have 2 HDR files. 002 is a bit warmer, so you can use that. You can kind of look at it, and you can rotate it. Use the white here to rotate. So yeah, once you kind of place it somewhere you like, and you can adjust this later as well if you want to check it. I'm gonna also add some exposure. I don't know if you want one is too much, but let's try 0.5 and can change it later. And you can untick here the enable lighting viewport. It's not necessary, but you can try. Maybe this got messed up because I tried to save it. Maybe it's probably best to export it and not save it. But yeah, so now I have my file. It's kind of barred here. You can set up your camera as well. So you just press here, camera. And go to your viewer and press enter. And it's gonna place a camera. And you can move it. Don't know why it's moving so strangely. It's okay. The icon for the camera can be quite small sometimes. So if you press on the camera and press P, you can see the properties. Go to view here and you can make it bigger. Right now it's not necessary. Resolution, unfortunately you're limited in the free version of in the apprentice version of Houdini. So 1280 is by 720 is the max here. Focal length, aperture can change to like 35. I don't know, focal length 50 is okay. The smaller the focal length, the wider the shot. Really, it's like a normal camera. So like for example 18, or it's gonna be a really wide angle. For the aperture, I don't know if it matters that much. So yeah, you can change here the viewer to view the camera. And you can, if you move the camera, you leave the viewer here. But if you have like here no cam, you go to cam and you can press the lock. Let me change this, maybe 50. So yeah, you can change your perspective here. So right now you're changing the view of the camera itself. So if you press spacebar and the left click, you can move it around. So since I'm gonna be doing the portrait first, I'll do a full body one as well, just to kind of see. I can even change the name of the camera to portrait. I'm gonna hide a few things, so we can right click and go to visibility. So you right click the little node here. And let me select a few things. So face old first, and the long bow, strap, the quiver, the sword. For now, I'll hide them. So for your portrait, you can kind of decide kind of angle you want. Usually good to have like a side view roughly. So yeah, right now it doesn't have any textures, so you can go to here to material. So I just click here. It was in object. So object is gonna have your geometry and your lights and camera, and here you have your, if you click here, you can select the material. So here you're gonna create a shader. So press tab, and I'm gonna use the principled shader. And you can see it's quite big. You can make it small here at the bottom. So kind of big, go small. And again, press P. And you have a lot of settings. Usually I go base color. I change everything to 1. Albedo, leave it at 1. IOR, probably leave it at 1. Roughness, I think can do 1. Maybe a bit lower, depends. Reflection, also metallic 1. So these are your basic settings here for the surface. And then you go to textures. And you're gonna select the textures you want. You're gonna create 2 shaders. So this one's gonna be for the figure. And this one. I'll copy and paste later. So let me load. The diffuse. The roughness you need as well, but I'm still have to create it. And then I think metallic. And select your specular. And here you have a bump and normals. You can enable, and you can load your normals as well. Your normal map. So yeah, and the roughness is the tricky one. It's gonna be like a grayscale. Let me hide these. And usually it's just a grayscale version of your diffuse texture, but you might need to make some changes. So I'm gonna do Ctrl Shift E, and I'm gonna one thing I'll do is just de-old here. This texture is kind of bright, so let me just duplicate it and make it a bit darker. That should be okay. If you Ctrl Shift E and Ctrl Shift U, you might need to invert it. I'll have to take a look, and I'm just gonna save it as roughness. So this basically is gonna tell the renderer how bright your textures are gonna be. But yeah, your first result might be quite strange. I might need to make several adjustments. So I went back to my object tab, and here I'm gonna right click again and create a material node. So press P, and here you can select the groups you want to have this material and the material itself. So if you press here in to open your materials, you can go to your material tab and open your barred figure. And you can see it's gonna load to everything. So you can select which ones you want. So belt, boots, buckle, coat, face, coat, no. Can remove the coat, face young, gloves, hands, yes, low legs, yes, pants, and tunic. And go back to your object tab, and you can also go to the output here, right below the object. The material is right above the object, and you're gonna make press tab and create a mantra node. So here you have all your options. You can again select the camera. Here's the name. It's gonna this is the frame. This is the name of the operator, so the name of this node. So you can change it here. You can go like young, for example, or portrait young. It's gonna give you a frame number, so you don't need that, and usually saves as EXR, but you can save as PNG if it is easier for you. So right now I'm just gonna test it, see how it looks. So there's this kind of film spool here. You can click it and click the mantra node you have, so portrait. And just give it some time and it's gonna render. Just let it render for a second. So here in rendering, you have sampling, you have your engine, it can be ray tracing, it can be physically based render, so PBR. And you have your pixel samples, so the higher the pixel samples, the higher the quality, like the less grain in your image. And you have your ray samples as well. Also, the higher, the better quality you're gonna have, but it's also gonna take longer for it to render. So usually you just want to change these values. I usually do like 5 perhaps here, the pixel samples, and here we also do like 5 and 25 or something like that. It's rendered the invisible. So yeah, you can cancel. He's gonna give you a warning, but don't worry about that. So instead of visibility, I'm just gonna use a blast node. So blast is just gonna delete it, the groups I want. And I'll try to render it again. It looks pretty good. I don't know if I need to do any kind of major changes. But some things you can do if you want to experiment. You can change the colors here of the lights, make it a bit softer, make it like maybe a light yellow or like light red. Um, you can place more lights. You can maybe put like a point light. So a point light is like just a little ball of light, for example. Here you can click somewhere if you want to render the area. Yeah, so it's looking quite strange. The face looks fine actually. So yeah, let me try a few things to see if I can fix it. So let me try to invert this and make it darker. The bad thing about the roughness, the textures here, is that you can't really, you have to create a new file every time. And I load out the texture here. So yeah, I think it's roughly what I want. So yeah, it can take a long time to get the look you want, and every time you have to make the same process here of adjusting the roughness. That's really what's gonna dictate how good or bad your your image is gonna look. You also can adjust the lights a little bit if you want. Let me remove the lock here. you get those clipping problems, you can press spacebar F in like your model, and it's gonna reset it. Trying to make the hair look a bit nicer, but it's not really working out that great. Yeah, probably the last thing I try here, and then I'll just move on. So I'll copy this here and paste it and rename it attachment or just attach. And probably can delete these. Create another material. And select the attachments. So here, yeah, I'm gonna maybe increase it to like 4. I'm not gonna put it like too high, otherwise it's gonna take too long. And I'm gonna render to disk. And yeah, I'm leaving it as EXR, but you don't have to. And you have your render scheduler, and it's gonna show you the kind of time elapsed. Is it not going? No, it is, I think. Uh, yeah, sorry. I changed the name of the camera, so you need to select the portrait camera. So yeah, if you middle mouse click, or like click with your mouse wheel, it's gonna give you the error. So here it's not wasn't finding the camera. So now it should render now. Here you can clear this, and it's gonna give you the time it has been running. Meanwhile, I'm gonna go to my mods here. And just get a background. Just this one. Just gonna copy here. I can also uh, so the bow you can leave it in his hand or place it on his back perhaps. And I can just convert it to mesh with goat. It takes a bit longer because the poly count is quite high. So yeah, it's still rendering. Paste the textures as well. Just shortening the names. So okay, so the takes 5 minutes, so yeah, it's a bit much. So here you can open the Photoshop, can open EXR. I don't know if your other tools can open it as well. So you have an option to open as a transparency, so it's gonna have like a blank background, or as an alpha channel. I'll load it as a transparency. So yeah, it looks a bit dark. I could make it lighter. The lights. So I'm gonna remove the. But I'll just. So one thing is EXR, you have to, if you want to make some edits, you change it to the mode to 8 bits per channel. And yeah, press merge, and you can just do exposure and gamma. So yeah, it's a bit dark. I think I should have kept the lights a bit brighter, like they were. But you can adjust it here. And like this, probably I should have adjusted the roughness a little, so it looks brighter. So yeah, it still looks quite looks 3D, but should be okay for a portrait. Just gonna soften up a little bit. I have the normals here a bit too sharp, so a bit too strong. So you can adjust that as well. So you can reduce the amount of. Can actually reduce it the amount of here in the shader itself, the strength of the of the normal, you can reduce it here. But yeah, let me open the portrait background. Just gonna copy this and paste it here. And similar to the unit card, you're gonna want to sharpen it. I think I should probably have backed up the camera and got a bit more of the torso. And here you can make all sorts of edits. You can maybe use some photos and try to kind of mix them together a little bit. So on sharp mask is gonna make it look sharper. You can also manually sharpen it if you have the additional sharpen tool. You can adjust the strength and sharpen some areas you want. But yeah, at this point you can do some painting. And desaturate the face a little, perhaps. So here again, you can use the create a new alpha and fill it with white. And you can save as a TGA. The name, it has to be like young portrait, but I can change the name later. So here I'm gonna do face young and face old. Face, yeah. So if I go to my scene view, yeah, it should now have changed to the old version. And again, I'm just gonna make a new render. Should have named this young and old. So yeah, if you have a different mantra, it's gonna take the name of the mantra node. Let me check here. I probably need to redo the roughness. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's probably too bright. The hair, I'm not sure. So yeah, I use PNG for my materials. You can use something else. You can use even JPEG should be alright. And I'm just gonna render to disk. It's gonna take another 5 minutes probably. So yeah, it's running. So I don't think Bard in third age has a has a model. Let me check. Yeah, it doesn't, just uses the base general model. I'm gonna go here to unit models, and I'm gonna open the ModelDB, and I don't know, maybe go to Aragorn. I'm not sure. I'm just trying to look for an entry that will cause the least problems, or be least likely to cause problems. Just gonna copy Aragorn. So this is the kind of tricky part. So it's kind of annoying. Go Bard. And here's the amount of characters the line has. Make sure the name is right. So here I'll just change Turks to Scotland. Don't necessarily need to change every entry, just the one for Scotland, but I'll just change everything. And it doesn't have sprites. Okay, let me change Turks to Scotland. And then here I'll change these to the attachments. Might be a quicker way to do this, but not really an expert at this sort of thing. So yeah, this should work, I think. And you need to change the count here at the top. I'm not gonna save it, I'm just gonna leave it for now. So let me open the render here. I'll try to make sure you have the RGB selected. Make them roughly the same size. delete this alpha. Again, can unsharp here. So I control click the layer, add an alpha, fill it with white. Uh, Let me open Bard Young again and make it grayscale. So I know there's Bard has a portrait. It's gonna be custom portraits. It's a portrait that I made actually many years ago. So yeah, you need to, the start has to be portrait. I'm actually not sure if you're gonna be able to see the game. Maybe not. Yeah, I'm sorry if you can't see the screen. I'm just gonna see if it works. So yeah, it's in the game. So yeah. Now if you want to make like a full size I can create a new camera here, I think. Yeah, new camera. recording this the day after my last recording, and I just came back to this file and I changed the lights a little bit, just moved them away and increased the intensity. I also changed the color a little bit, same here. And I realized I made a mistake here in the shader. So I was putting the texture in the roughness, but instead I have to put it in IOR, which is the index of refraction, I believe. And I made some changes here as well to roughness, anisotropy, I think it's called the name, and reflectant. So yeah, with the map, with the texture in the, is the same texture basically. Your roughness map is gonna be basically the same as we're doing it, but instead of being here in the roughness, is in the IOR, and that makes it look much better, the render. So I'm gonna show you how it looks here. But yeah, basically I changed this from 1 to 0.6, and here was 0, I changed to 0.3, and here to 0.5. I also changed the bump and normals to 0.8, so just decrease a little bit the intensity of the normal map. So yeah, looking much better. If you still want to make some changes, like let's say if you want the code to be darker, or the bow to be lighter, or the kind of blade here to be lighter, you can do that through the roughness map, and you just have to make those lighter. Just adjust the levels to make them lighter or darker depending on what you want. So yeah, and yeah, you can go back and redo the portraits. They might look a bit different. But yeah, that's basically it, and I'll probably just go back to my output here and just make a nice full-size render. And it's probably gonna take a few minutes, or maybe even like 30 minutes, half an hour. But yeah, that's it for now. I'll save this anyway, so you can open it and check the changes for yourself. So yeah, thanks for watching.